Hello everybody, Aquila Fleetwood here. I wanted to show you something about some Paleo-Hebrew. I believe this is the original language that God gave man. I don't believe this came from the mind of man, and there's a lot of reasons. Because if you look at many of these letters here, they are actually pointing to this last letter, Ta, which is the shape of a cross. There's 22 letters and there's consonants, and then there's vowel sounds that you have to put underneath them if you write modern Hebrew. But in Paleo-Hebrew, there's no vowel markers in it. They just knew what to say. And this is obvious to me. It had to come from the mind of God and not from the mind of man. But I want to start off with this first letter called Aleph. Aleph. It's shaped like the head of an ox. These are the ears, these are the horns, this is the nose. And it indicates several things, like wisdom, that which is first, power, like a general, a leader. And it's the first letter in the word El, as in Emmanuel. Emmanuel means with us, and El, see the ed, this would have a segel under it. El, see the L, means God. So in Isaiah 7:14, he shall be called Emmanuel. So he's talking about Christ. It's with us, God. And this is the word Aleph. So it has the letter Aleph. It has the letter Lamed right there, which is right here in the alphabet, which is talking about power. It has reference to a shepherd, because it's a shepherd's staff. You know, you can use this end if you want to hook it over at the sheep to get it away from danger, or you can use the other end of it, flip it around, to prod something. But it has something to do with the shepherd. And this letter is called Pei. Pei is a Hebrew word for mouth. But all these are kind of turned up. You know, you say, well, that doesn't look like a mouth. Well, kind of do it like that. You know, kind of like a smile. And then they turn it up. Just like this is a house, Bet is a house, but you flip it down and it's like a tent beside a hill. So oftentimes you will turn these things up, and I guess it's to give it more room. But it's still, you can see what these pictographs and these letters are doing. Just look at them here. This is a door. Christ said, I'm the door. This is the heel of a man, and it's representative of the heel of Christ, because it bruised the head of Satan. And this right here is a letter Tet, which is what it bruised. This heel of Christ bruised the head of the serpent. So the circle is like a head of a serpent, and the cross is like putting the imprint, as the heel of Christ is bruising the head of the serpent. So there's all sort of stories in here that, of course, the Jews don't understand. When God gave man this alphabet, he had Christ in mind. From the foundation of the world, Revelation 13:8, what did it say? Christ was crucified. This is a cross. It's a letter Tav, Latin ways, or Tau in biblical Hebrew. This is the last letter of these 22-letter alphabets. Now this right here is the letter Resh, which means the highest man. So if I read this letter, then come back here and read this one and this one. These are the last three letters. This is referring to Christ. Our letter R came from this letter. The highest man, master or rabbi, talking about Christ, was killed upon the cross. This is a sharp tooth. Means to kill, to destroy, to consume. It looks like it became a W, but it didn't. It worked its way down through our English S. So the highest man was killed upon the cross. That's the last three letters of this alphabet. So if we say Aleph, that is the first. Since Jesus said he's the Alpha, which he did. This is Greek. He said, I am the Alpha. Well, he's got to be the Aleph too, because Aleph became the Alpha in Greek. This Aleph in Paleo-Hebrew became the Alpha in Greek. So Christ said, I'm the Alpha, he's also the Aleph. Now the numerical value of Aleph is 1, and it's also 1,000. You just say Aleph. You use different vowel, you use the same letters and words, but you can use different vowel sounds. So in Hebrew, numbers have a lot of symbolic meaning. The first and the 1,000, and it refers to Christ. So when you're reading the Bible and you see some number come up like 1,000 generations or 1,000 hills or 1,000 years, you better be careful about trying to say, oh, that's got to be literal. No, it's not. It is not. It does not have to be literal. It's very symbolic from the Hebrew way of thought. In English, our Western way of thought, we don't go there much, even though we can use that numbers in a symbolic way. Somebody might accuse you of something, and trying obviously not to be literal, you would say, I wouldn't do that in a million years. Why are you accusing me of that? Well, you're not being literal with, I wouldn't do that in a million years. You're just strongly saying, I would never do that. You know, maybe you're a kid and your mom accused you of something, and this time you were innocent. Mom, I wouldn't do that in a million years. You're obviously not being literal. So we do use that in English, but it's used real heavy in Paleo-Hebrew. So I love this Aleph. This spells L, remember that, and this is the mouth. So God speaks, because that's what God has spoken to us with his mouth. Christ came to this earth all in due time, and he died upon this cross. And he spoke to us and was telling that he was a Messiah, and he had come as God had planned to die upon this cross, which can mean all sorts of things too. Mark, seal, sign, covenant, taught. So this Aleph is very important. Aleph and Bet spell Father. The first two letters of the Paleo-Hebrew alphabet spells Father. And God is our Father, and this alphabet came from the Father. I hope you like this. You have a good day.